Alright, what's up friends? Welcome back. Today we're learning Daf Chaf Aleph of Masechta Berachos. There's some pretty cool stuff that comes up today. We're going to start off, general premise is talking about bal carries, which we'll get to, which is interesting. And then we're going to, the Gemara starts off talking about, is hirhor kedibor dummy or not, right? If when you think something, is it as if you've said it, which is an interesting discussion. We're then going to talk about how do we know that benching and Berachos Torah are midoraisa. Where do we find them in the Torah? We're then going to move on and talk about some interesting general knowledge stuff about davening, which is just good stuff to know, which is kind of cool. And some overall good page, interesting stuff today. So I hope you all enjoy. So let's get started. We're going to start at the Mishnah on Chaf Amud Beis, towards the bottom. Let's get going. Balkari mahara belibo veino mevarich lo lefanei v'lo la'acharei v'alamaz mevarich la'achariv veino mevarich lefanav. So the Tanna Kama says that a balkari. So what's a balkari? So balkaris have come up before, I think. Basically, a man who sperm comes out of his body, however, in whatever way it comes out, but sperm has left his body. He is now what's called a balkari. Without getting into too much detail about the different types of tumas, ava tumas, rishon tumas, whatever, he has the status of a rishon tuma, and which means that he's mitame food, drinks, things like that, truma, and he remains tame until he goes to the mikvah. Once he goes to the mikvah, he's no longer a balkari. Now, Ezra made a takana. Ezra Sofer made a takana that a balkari is not allowed to learn Torah until he goes to the mikvah. We're going to learn about we're going to learn in the future about what that actually means, if it still applies nowadays or whatever. But he made such a gezerah. Now, so the Mishnah talks about, so you have a guy, he's a balkari, he's not allowed to learn Torah. Can he say Shema? What can he do? So the Mishnah says that what he does about Shema is that he just thinks it. He thinks it in his heart. He thinks Kriya Shema, and that is enough. And in terms of the brachos, he doesn't even think the brachos, not beforehand, not afterwards, doesn't even think them, right? And when it comes to benching, so he thinks it afterwards, right? That's how I'm understanding it anyways, that he thinks it, just like he thinks Kriya Shema, he also thinks benching afterwards, because both Kriya Shema and benching are midoraisa, and we're going to see in the Gemara where we learned it out from. However, bracha rishona, which is only midrabanan, he doesn't even think, right? And the brachos before and after Kriya Shema, he doesn't even think those either. Okay. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Omer mevarich lefanei v'la'acharei. Now, the way I understand, the way I have to understand in order to understand the Gemara that we're going to get to on Chaf Aleph Amud Beis in a little bit, is that Rabbi Yehuda says that he actually says Kriya Shema, and he even says the brachas beforehand and the brachas afterwards. That is how I'm understanding Rabbi Yehuda. Okay. Zeu says the Gemara. Amar Ravina Zos Omeres Hiru Kedibur Dami. So from the fact that we're saying that a balkari thinks Kriya Shema, it must be that thinking Kriya Shema is the equivalent of saying Kriya Shema. Because after all, because if it would enter your mind that thinking it is not as though he said it, then what's the point of wasting his time thinking it? If it doesn't count anyways, it must be. So that thinking counts as if you said it. So elamai hiro kedibur dami yotzi b'sfasa. But if that's the case, that hirhor thinking is kedibur, then who are we kidding? So then just say it. Like if we're saying that a balkari can't learn Torah, and for that reason he can't read Kriya Shema, well, if we're saying that thinking it is the same thing as saying it, well then just say the darn thing, right? So the Gemara says, good question, right? The Gemara answers, good question. You're right. Theoretically, right, who are we kidding? If he's thinking it and it's kedibur dami, may as well just say it. But kid ashkecham b'Sinai. Look, at Har Sinai, Baalei Kerian were not permitted to be present at Har Sinai. Therefore, they all had to, I guess they all had to go to the mikvah before Har Sinai. I guess that's probably why people are makbid to go to the mikvah on Shavuos morning, I guess. Even more, some people are even more makbid to go to the mikvah than they are to learn. Anyways, Zeh, and it says for 3 days before Har Sinai, they did, the men and the women were not allowed to be with each other, they were not allowed to sleep with each other for 3 days leading up to Har Sinai, because we say that, a woman for 3 days after she sleeps with a man, theoretically the shichva zera, the sperm can come out, and within the 3 days, the shichva zera will still can be considered healthy. In which case, that would make her tameh from coming in contact with sperm, right? During that entire 3-day period. So therefore, they weren't allowed to, men and women were not allowed to be with each other for 3 days leading up to Har Sinai. So we see that, so just like at Har Sinai, they were not allowed to be Balkarian. And so therefore, also, when you learn Torah, you're not allowed to be a Balkari. And Zeu. Fine. Okay, we're going to learn out on Chaf Aleph Mud Beis also the smuchin, right? That we have the psukim close to each other, as Rashi points out, Vodatam levanecha v'levnei vanecha, right? Learning Torah, and it says right afterwards, Yom Hashem amata lefnei Hashem lokecha b'chorev, the day that you stood next to God, getting the Torah. So therefore, Balkaris don't learn Torah. So even though, yeah, Hirhor is Kedibor, so therefore Ravina says, like, it's the same thing as if you said it. So why don't you just say it? Because at Har Sinai, we didn't have Balkaris, so therefore we're not going to have, Balkaris reading Kriya Shema, but at the same time, you just think it. Okay, Beseder. Fine. Rav Chisda argues in Ravina, and he says Hirhor is not like thinking about it. Because if it would enter your mind that that thinking about it is as if you said it, well then, who are we kidding? You may as well just say Kriya Shema. So Ella, my, Hirhor lav kedibur dami? So what, are you going to say that Hirhor thinking about it is not as though you said it? Well then, lama mahara. Well then, what's the point of wasting his time thinking Kriya Shema if it doesn't really, it's not as if he's saying it anyways. So Amar Belazar, kadesh lo yu kol olam oskin bo vu yoshev v'vatel. So Rabbi Elazar says, because, we just don't want everybody in shul reading Kriya Shema, he's sitting there doing nothing. First of all, I don't know why he's going to shul in the first place if he can't really daven, right? So, I don't know. Anyways, but he is. For some reason, he's going to shul just to be at shul, I guess. Very nice. So anyways, so we don't want everybody sitting there doing something, and he's just sitting there doing nothing. So he focuses. He thinks about Kriya Shema. Okay, fine. But it doesn't really actually do anything. Right, it's not kedibur dami. Vinigros b'pirkach. So why don't you just let him do something else? I don't know. So as the Agos Abach points out, maybe you can learn Hilchos Derech Eretz. So basically, why does he have to think Kriya Shema dafka? Just let other people, everyone's saying Kriya Shema, and he'll just learn Hilchos Derech Eretz or whatever. So Amar Adabar Ahava v'dover shetzibur oskin bo. Because we want something that the tzibur is oskin bo, right? Meaning if the tzibur is saying Kriya Shema, we want him to be doing something Kriya Shema related, such as thinking about it, but not to be learning Hilchos Derech Eretz. But then the Gemara asks, why does it really not matter what the tzibur is dealing with, right? Very tefillah, tadavar shetzibur oskin bo, asukin bo, right? So you have tefillah, which is something, right? You have the whole tzibur when they're davening Shemona Esrei, utnan, and yet we have a mishnah. This mishnah is on Chaf Beis Amud Beis. It says, Haya omid b'tefillah v'nizkar shu balkari. If he was davening, and in the middle of davening realized, dang it, I am a balkari. So what does he do? Lo yafsik. So he doesn't stop davening in the middle. And we'll see later on that there are times when you actually will just stop in the middle of davening. But here you don't stop in the middle of davening. Eli yikatzer. Rather, what he should do is he should just kind of do a shortened an abridged version of each bracha, and that way let him just kind of abridge his Shemona Esrei, but he shouldn't stop in the middle. But time of the aschil, lo aschil, lo yaschil, right? The only reason why he should be sort of shortening each bracha when he realizes that he's a balkari is because he already started. But if he didn't yet start, we would recommend that he not start in the first place. So by tefillah, it's something that the entire tzibur is doing, and yet we're saying don't daven. So here also, who cares that the tzibur is saying Shema? Don't say Shema, you're a balkari. So the Gemara says, Shiny tefillah delays b'malchus shamayim. Tefillah is different because tefillah doesn't have kabbalas ol malchus shamayim. Tefillah doesn't have kabbalas ol malchus shamayim, and therefore it's okay that he's not davening. Whereas Shema is about kabbalas ol malchus shamayim, and because it's about kabbalas ol malchus shamayim, we don't want everybody to be makabel ol malchus shamayim, and he's doing nothing. It wouldn't look very nice. Why? What does he have against being makabel ol malchus shamayim? So therefore he thinks about it. Okay. By Berachos Hamazon, the acharav delays by malchus shamayim. But 1 second, what about Berachos Hamazon, benching? There's no kabbalas or malchus shamayim in benching. Utnan al Hamazon mevarich lacharav veinu mevarich lefanav, right? And we say that that by benching you are going to be maharher benching, right? So if we're going to say that the reason why why he's going to think Kriya Shema is because it's Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim, well, then how do you explain the fact that the Mishnah says that he's also maharher benching? Benching doesn't have Kabbalah or Malchus Shemayim. So the Gemara says, Ella, Kriya Shema Berachos Hamazon D'Oraisa Tefillah D'Rabbanan. Oh, that benching and Kriya Shema are both mitzvahs D'Oraisa. Because they're mitzvahs D'Oraisa, that's why a Balkari is maharher those things. But davening is only D'Rabbanan, so therefore he's just going to be silent. Okay, very good. I mean, we don't, it's not necessarily conclusive if we hold Hirhor is Kedibur Dami or Hirhor is Lav Kedibur Dami. It would appear that the Rambam would say that Hirhor is Lav Kedibur Dami. Okay, very good. Very good. Interesting discussion over there. Weiter. Amar Yehuda, so the Agosabach adds Amar Rav. Okay, so Yehuda says in the name of his Rebbe, Rav, Minayin Berachos Hamazon L'Acharei Min HaTorah. Oh, how do we know that benching is midoraisa? Shnei Amar, as the pasuk says, V'achalta v'savata u'berachta. You'll eat, you'll be satisfied, and you'll bench. Very good. Minayin Berachos HaTorah L'Fanei Min HaTorah. How do you know that we make Berachos HaTorah before we learn? So Shnei Amar, as the pasuk says, Kishem Hashem Ekra Avogoda Le'Elokeinu. Oh, so this is a pasuk in Ha'azinu, and apparently there is a Gemara in Yuma that learns that basically Moshe Rabbeinu said to the Bnei Yisrael that Kishem Hashem Ekra. Okay, right now before I say Shiras Ha'azinu, the song of Ha'azinu, Kishem Hashem Ekra, I'm going to make a bracha, and when I call out and say Berachos HaTorah, Havu Goda Le'Elokeinu, you guys bring greatness to God by saying Amen. Okay, so we see there that we make Berachos HaTorah before learning Torah. Very good. And actually, interestingly, so we're referring to Shiras Ha'azinu, I just thought of this now, that we're referring to Shiras Ha'azinu as Torah over here, right? That Moshe Rabbeinu was going to say a bracha before Shiras Ha'azinu, and that's a reference to Torah. And also at the end of the Torah, it says, V'ata kisvu lachem es hashira azos v'lamdas b'nei Yisrael sima b'fiyam, right? That now write down this song, and we learn that to be the mitzvah of writing down a Sefer Torah. So it's interesting that we see Ha'azinu, the Shir of Ha'azinu, I guess in multiple contexts, being referred to as Torah itself, and not just a self-contained song. Okay. Next, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, Lamanu Berachos HaTorah L'Acharei min Berachos Hamazon min Kal V'chomer, Berachos Hamazon L'Fanei min Berachos HaTorah min Kal V'chomer. Oh, so Rabbi Yochanan says, now, just like benching is a mitzvah d'oraisa, we can actually also learn out from learning Torah that the bracha rishona on food is also midoraisa. Now, of course, we assume that it's midarabanan. Rabbi Yochanan is saying that we can actually learn that it's midoraisa, right? And he's saying we can also learn out that making a bracha after learning Torah is also midoraisa. Now, we don't necessarily, I don't think that we make a bracha every day after we learn Torah, although we do when we get an aliyah in shul, we do make a bracha afterwards, so maybe that's what it's referring to. But anyways, so Amar Rabbi Yochanan lamadu Berachos HaTorah L'Acharei min Berachos Hamazon min Kal V'chomer. So we learn out that making a bracha on Torah afterwards, after learning Torah, is a mitzvah d'oraisa, and we learn that out from benching. Okay. Uberachos Hamazon L'Fanei, and the bracha that we make before food, min Berachos HaTorah min Kal V'chomer. We learn out that the bracha before food is midoraisa, that we learn out from Kal V'chomer from Berachos HaTorah. Okay, let's see. You know what's his Kal V'chomer? Berachos HaTorah L'Acharei min Berachos Hamazon min Kal V'chomer. So we learn out a bracha, that we make a bracha after learning Torah from benching, from a Kal V'chomer, mazon she'ein ta'on lefanav, ta'on la'acharav. So if you have mazon, right, which is more mekil, it's more lenient, we don't make after all, we don't make a bracha before eating food, and yet, nonetheless, we make a bracha after eating food. So then Torah, she'tuna lefanei, but Torah, which is so chamor that you even make a bracha beforehand, enodin she'tuna la'acharei, well then certainly it must be that we also have a chiyuv to make a bracha afterwards. Okay. Because Hamazon L'Fanei min Berachos HaTorah min Kal V'chomer. And then we also learn out that brachas on food, we learn midoraisa, we make a bracha beforehand from Kal V'chomer from learning Torah. Torah she'ein tuna la'acharei tuna l'fanei, right? Torah that is more mekil in that it doesn't require a bracha afterwards, and yet it requires a bracha beforehand. Mazon she'u'ton la'acharav and udin she'eton l'fanav. So food, which is so chamor that it requires a bracha afterwards, certainly then it should require a bracha beforehand. Okay. But then the Gemara says these aren't really great Kal V'chomers. Ikal Mifrach, you could say that you can't really learn out Torah from Berachos Hamazon and Berachos Hamazon from Torah, because Ma'ala Mazon Shekein Nene, right? Mazon is different than Berachos HaTorah. Mazon you get Hana'ah from, right? So, but Torah you don't get hana from. Now, I'm sure you guys are thinking, but we're enjoying learning Torah so much, and we do enjoy learning Torah. It's great, right? But that's not why we learn Torah, right? We learn Torah, as Rashi said the other day in explaining the Shema, because it says, Kasher tzivani Hashem Elokai, right? As God commanded us, so we learn Torah. That's why we learn Torah. Of course, we love learning Torah, but that's not why we do it. But I guess more inherent in eating is enjoying it. Whereas food might, keep you alive, might buy you another few hours of life, maybe a few days of life, but and learning Torah gives you mamish eternal life. V'od tanan, and v'od tanan ala mazon v'varech lachar ve'enu v'varech lefanav. And now here is really a pretty strong question. Was that in our Mishnah we said that a Baal Keri makes he's maharher, he benches, he thinks about benching afterwards, but not beforehand. But if we're going to say that making a bracha beforehand is midoraisa, well then shouldn't you also be maharher beforehand? So to Yufta, that's basically a kasha and Rabbi Yochanan that cannot be resolved, and that is that. So basically, only benching is midoraisa, not bracha rishona, and Berachos Torah beforehand is midoraisa, but not afterwards. Okay, let's go weiter in Shas, buddies. Amar Yochanan, Amar Yehuda, and there's a note here that adds Amar Shmuel, says the Gilyon. Okay, so before we had Rav Yehuda in the name of Rab, now we have Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel. Both of them were his teachers. Okay, Amar Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Safek Kar Kriyashma, Safek Lo Kar. Okay, so this thing is like a funny little. I'll tell you, I don't really get Shmuel's opinion, but maybe you can answer that for yourselves. And if you come up with a good thought, let us know in the WhatsApp group. But it's nothing too bad. It's just I don't really see how it makes sense so much. But Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Safek Kar Kriyashma, Safek Lo Kara. If he's not sure if he read Kriyashma or not, okay, Enu Chozer v'Kara. He doesn't have to. It says Enu Chozer, but it doesn't go back and read it, which sort of implies that he read it already. But anyways, it doesn't matter. If he's not sure if he read Kriyashma or not, I don't know. It's the morning. He can't remember if he read Kriyashma. He doesn't go back and repeat it out of Safek. Safek Amar Emes V'Yatziv, Safek Lo Amar Chozer V'Omer Emes V'Yatziv. If he's not sure if he said the bracha after Kriyashma, which is Emes V'Yatziv, so he would go back and say that. Okay, my timer. How come he would say Emes V'Yatziv but not Kriyashma? So Kriyashma D'Rabanan, Emes V'Yatziv D'Oraisa. Okay, he says that Kriyashma is really only a mitzvah D'Rabanan, whereas Emes V'Yatziv is actually a mitzvah D'Oraisa. Masav of Yosef. So if Yosef asks the kasha, Uvshach B'chav Kumecha. What are you going to do with the pasuk that says Uvshach B'chav Kumecha, which means it's basically the Torah telling us that you got to read Kriyashma in the morning and at night. Of course, it's midoraisa. Amalei Abaye. So of course Abaye is there to respond to Rav Yosef. Hahu b'divrei Torah ksiv. No, when it says Uvshach B'chav Kumecha, it means that we have a chiyuv to learn Torah in the morning and in the night, but not to read Kriyashma necessarily. Okay. Now the Gemara says, one second. Tanan, our Mishnah says, Balkari mahar belibo ve'enum varch lo lefanei v'lo la'acharei. Baal Keri is Maharir Kriyashma, but he doesn't Bichlal do anything with the brachas before and afterwards, which doesn't seem to jive so much with Shmuel's opinion, because according to Shmuel, should be Maharir the bracha afterwards, and I guess not even Kriyashma, I guess. Because Hamazon will bench afterwards, right? By food, he'll bench afterwards, so he won't make a bracha before. Right? And if Shmuel, what you're saying is correct, that emes v'yatziv is doraisa, so what he should be doing is he should be maharher emes v'yatziv and not do the brachos beforehand and not even do Kriyat Shema itself, because after all, Kriyat Shema is derabanan, emes v'yatziv is doraisa. So Shmuel responds, or he would respond, well, my time of Baruch, what would really be the point? Why should he, why should he be mevarich after he already thought Kriyat Shema? If you're going to say, well, Balker should be Maharer Emes V'Yatziv so that he can do Kriyat Shema, so that he could do Yitzias Mitzrayim, well, he already did that in Kriyat Shema. So there's really no point. So that's why he's Maharer Kriyat Shema and he's not Maharer Emes V'Yatziv. Okay? But V'nei Mahav Lo Libayha. But then let him just say Emes V'Yatziv, since that's the Midah Oraisa one, and then he won't be mahar here Kriya Shema. So, so the Gemara says, Kriya Shema adifa diz batarte. Well, Kriya Shema is better because it has both. It has Zchiras Yitzias Mitzrayim, and also Kabbalah Somach Shemaim. So therefore, Kriya Shema is better than Emes V'Yatziv, which is weird. It's like now I don't really get it. So what would be that context where Shmuel would say that if he's not sure that if he read Kriya Shema, meaning if he's not sure if he read Kriya Shema, but I guess he knows that he said Emes V'Yatziv, right? So then I guess he wouldn't have to say Kriya Shema, because he knows that he said Emes V'Yatziv, and he said Zechiras Yitzias Mitzrayim, so he's Yotzei. But if he's not sure if he said Emes V'Yatziv, but let's say he knows that he said Kriya Shema, so then why would he be Choser to say Emes V'Yatziv? The only point of saying Emes V'Yatziv would be for Zechiras Yitzias Mitzrayim, but he knows that he already said Shema, and there's the Zechiras Yitzias Mitzrayim in Shema. I don't know. So then, why would he have to say Emes V'Yatziv? And if he said neither of them, we just said that Kriya Shema is better because it has Zechiras Yitzias Mitzrayim and also Kabbalah Somach Shemaim. So then better you should do Kriya Shema than Emes V'Yatziv. So why would you go back and say Emes V'Yatziv? Like what would be the context where you have a suffix of saying Emes V'Yatziv and you would actually go back and say Emes V'Yatziv? You know what I mean? See that's the hole in the logic that I don't really get according to Shmuel. Anybody have an answer there? Let us know. Rabbi Lazar Amar, Zakta Belazar, Safek Kara Kriya Shema, Safek Lo Kara Choser V'Kara Kriya Shema. No, so Rabbi Lazar says, look, if he's not sure if he read Kriya Shema, he does go back and read Kriya Shema. Safek Ispalo, Safek Lo Ispalo, Eno Choser Mispalo. But if he's not sure if he davened or not, so then he doesn't go back and repeat Shmona Esrei. Okay? Rabbi Yochanan Amar, listen up, friends, this is a great, great line. Ulavai Ispalo Adam Kol Yom Kulo. Halavai, a person should daven all day. And therefore, if he's not sure if he davened or not, of course, he should go back and daven. Okay. V'amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Oh, this is very interesting. This is just now some practical, Hilchos Beis Knesset kind of stuff. Right? So it says Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Haya Omid B'Tfila. Okay, so if a person is davening, V'nizka she'espala. I'm sure it happens to everybody, right? At least every once in a while. You're there davening Shmona Esrei, and you're like, wait a second, right? Maybe it's probably more common for something like this to happen at like a mincha or something. You daven mincha earlier, maybe you usually daven mincha later, and one day you happen to be somewhere and they were making a minyan for mincha, and it was early, so you're like, I may as well daven mincha. And next thing you know, you daven mincha again when you normally daven, just because you're accustomed to it, and then you're in the middle, you're like, wait a second, I already davened. So what do? Right? So posek vafilu be'emtza bracha. So you stop. Zeh, when you realize that you already daven, you stop. That's it. Even in the middle of the bracha, you don't finish even the bracha that you're in. Ini, is that really true? V'amar Rav Nachman, ki avinon be Rabba bar Avua ba'an minei. But Rav Nachman said that when we were by Rabba bar Avua, we asked him the following question: Hani b'nei Rab ditau umadkei dechol b'Shabbos. Right? You have these people who they made a mistake and they were davening the Shmona Esrei of a weekday on Shabbos, right? And then they right. So ma'u sheyigmru. What should they do? Should they finish the bracha that you're in? Also, classic question, right? I'm sure this one happens more than the other one, which is, it's Shabbos morning, you say Akel HaKadosh, really you're supposed to move on to Yismach Moshe, but the next thing you know, you're saying Atachoni Ladan Das. What do? So, V'amar lan, and he said to us, Gomrin kol osa bracha. So, you finish the bracha, and that's what you do. L'maisi, this is what you do. If even if you just said the word Atah, and you should have said Yismach, you just say the word Atah, you finish the bracha of Chonin Hadas, okay? That's halacha l'maaseh. So the kasha is, how come when you accidentally start saying Atah Chonin, and even if you move on to the next bracha and say Ashivenu Avinu L'Soresecha, you would finish that bracha, right? However far you get. So how come when you daven the wrong Shmona Esrei, you would finish the bracha, yet Shmuel is recommending that if you realize in the middle of the bracha that you already daven, you just stop just like that. So the Gemara answers, so the difference is that on Shabbos, there's really nothing inherent in the bracha of Atachon Iladam Das that says, don't say me on Shabbos, right? You can say it on Shabbos, just for whatever reason, the Chacham said, look, on Shabbos we don't want to be matriach you, we'll give you a shorter Shemona Esrei. Even though, we have a much longer Pesukei de Zimra, we have a longer Kedusha, Laning, Haftorah, Musaf, but for some reason, I guess, when it came to Shemona Esrei, which is Sachakol not that long anyways, they didn't want to be matriach. But in any event, so really there's nothing inherently in Atachonin or whatever that says don't say me on Shabbos. Whereas over here, you're already daven. So what are you going to do? Daven again? You're already daven. So obviously that's not going to be like Rabbi Yochanan Mustama would say you could daven all day. So that's how we pass, I believe. Okay, so what happens if you're already daven? Oh, I'm sure also, happens, I don't know, you're ready to daven mincha, and now it's Ma'ariv time, so you want to go to shul to daven Ma'ariv, and you get there and they're finishing up mincha. So what do? Do you daven again? Do you daven with them? What do you do? So, im yachol l'chadesh badavar, yachzov yispal. So if you can be machadish something, I don't know, so let's say you daven mincha gedola, earlier in the afternoon, and then you thought of something new that you want to daven for. So now you get to shul, and they're davening mincha, they're not up to Ma'ariv yet. So, you know what? If you got something new to daven for, sure, daven again, and daven for this new thing. But if you have nothing new to be machadish, nothing new since the last time you daven, you're just going to daven again. So then don't do it. And we need to have both of these halachos, right? The first halacha that says that if you realize that you're already daven, your mom should just stop in the middle, and the other one that says that if you're able to be machadish something, so then you would taka daven. Okay? Diashmin and kamaisa. If we would only know the first one, that if you realize that you're already davened, you just mamish stop in the middle. So so I would say that hani mili yachid v'yachid o tzibur v'tzibur. I would think that that's only if the first time you daven mincha it was biyachidus, it was alone, and the second time you daven mincha you're also alone, and then you realize I already davened, so then you just stop. Or let's say the first time you daven was with a minyan, then the second time it's also with a minyan, so then you realize you already davened, so you just stop, right? But maybe I would think, right, that in the second case, however, where I already davened, let's say by myself, but now I get to shul and it's a minyan davening mincha, so maybe it would be considered commando tzali dami. Maybe, right? But I might think that my first davening that I did just by myself, when compared to now that I'm at a shul and I have the opportunity to daven with a minyan, maybe that first davening will be as if I never even davened in the first place and I should daven again. Kamash malan, that no, only daven again with the tzibur if there's something that can be mechadish. And if we would only have the second case of when you get to shul and they're davening, but you already daven, what should you do? Is mishum delo aschil ba, aval hasam de aschil ba ema lo tzricha. But if I only had this case of when I get to shul and I see that they're davening, what do I do? So when we say don't start unless you can be machadish something, that's only because you haven't yet started. But what about in the first case where I already started davening and then I realized I already davened, so then maybe I can keep on going even if I have nothing to be machadish. Kamash malan, that even though you already started, you stop. Although I guess if you have somebody that can be machadish, so then maybe you could continue davening. But Amar Rav Huna. So this, I never really understood this next halacha. Not because it's complicated. I understand the Gemara, but I never really chopped this halacha. So maybe you guys can help me understand this a little better. Amar Rav Huna, nichnas leveis hakneses u'matzah tzibur shemispalin. Okay, great. So he gets to shul and he finds that the tzibur is davening. I don't know. So again, it's mincha time. He hasn't yet davened mincha, but he also got there a little bit late, and they're already in the middle of davening. Okay, so what does he do? Does he just start, davening and say Shemona Esrei? So he takes a look at what they're up to, and he makes a cheshbon. He says, look, do I think that I will be able to finish my Shemona Esrei before the Shliach Tzibur gets to Modim D'Rabbanan? Right? If the answer is yes, I think I can finish on time, so then he davens. If the answer is no, so then he doesn't daven. He waits for Modim D'Rabbanan. After Modim D'Rabbanan, he then davens. He then starts the Shemona Esrei. Okay? Rabbi Shimon Levi Amar, Im Yachol Ascha V'Ligma Ad Shlo Yagia Shatz LeKedusha Yispal V'M Lav Al Yispal. Rabbi Shimon Levi says, no, actually, the determining factor is Kedusha. If he reckons he'll be able to start and finish his private Shemona Esrei before the Shliach Tzibur gets to Kedusha, so then he should daven. If he thinks that he won't be able to finish before Kedusha, he should wait till after Kedusha and then he should daven. But my commentary, what's the machlokes between Rav Huna and Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi? My savar Yachid Omer Kedusha, my savar in Yachid Omer Kedusha. Period. Okay. So Rav Huna holds that a person can say Kedusha on his own. Just by myself, I'm allowed to say Kedusha. We, of course, generally only say Kedusha with a minyan and Kaddish with a minyan. But Rav Huna says you could do it by yourself, and therefore, so it's really not a big deal if you won't, if you miss kedusha when you're davening by yourself, as long as you're finished by modim derabanan. That's important. You can't write that. So Rashi points out that even though you could theoretically say it by yourself, I guess, but he says aroa es kulam korem vu eno korea nira kikofer b'mishachaver b'mishtach meno. Right? If he sees, if everyone's bowing down and he's not bowing down because he's up to a different part of Shemona Esrei, it'll look like he's denying. He who everybody else is bowing down to, as if he's a kofer ba'ikar, denying God's existence. So therefore, we don't want that. So make sure you'll be done with Shemona Esrei by then. Okay, fine. Whereas Rabbi Shua ben Levi says no, you can't say kedusha by yourself, and therefore you have to make sure you'll be done with Shemona Esrei by kedusha. Similarly, says of Adabar Ahava, minayin she'ein ayachid omer kedusha. How do you know that a person alone doesn't say kedusha? Shneimar v'nikdashti b'sof b'nei Yisrael, that I will be made holy among the b'nei Yisrael. Kol davar sheb'kedusha lo yehei pachos me'asara. Whenever you have a davar sheb'kedusha, you have to have 10 people there, a minyan. My mashma. So how do we learn out from v'nikdashti b'sof b'nei Yisrael that you need 10 people for a davar sheb'kedusha? Detani Rav Noi Achvad Rabbi Chia bar Abba Asya Toch Mega Gezerah Shava. It says here, right, Ksivacham and Nikdashti Besoch B'nei Yisrael. It says Toch in the context of Nikdashti Besoch B'nei Yisrael. Uchsivasam Yibadu Mitoch Ha'eda Azos. That Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu by Korach, he says, get away from this evil Eda and I will destroy them. So, and Eda, of course, we know from the Meraglim means 10, right? Because it says, Ad Masai La Eda Ra Azos. And at that point, Yoshua and Caleb had already left. There were 10 of them left. So an Eda, of course, is 10. And it says, Ibadu Mitoch Ha'eda Azos. And it says, Mikdashi B'soch B'nei Yisrael. So therefore, it must be that Davar Sheb'Kedusha needs 10. Malhalan Asar, Afkan Asar. Just like an Eda is 10, also Davar Sheb'Kedusha needs 10. Okay, fine. Very good. Mifsak lo pasuk. But everyone nonetheless agrees that if you are in the middle of Shemona Esrei, you wouldn't stop and answer Kedusha. You wouldn't stop and answer Modim when you're in the middle of Shemona Esrei. Also a pretty good practical thing right there. That you don't stop your Shemona Esrei for Kedusha. You don't at least say Kedusha and Modim when you're in the middle of Shemona Esrei. I think that you would stop for Kedusha, you just wouldn't answer, I believe. Now, what don't I understand about this? What I don't understand about this is that by waiting for, there's also something called Tefillah B'tzibur, which is davening with 10 other people. So, if you get to shul late, and let's say you figure you won't be able to finish your Shemona Esrei by the time that they get up to Kedusha or Modim, whatever it might be, well, so it looks like we pass Rabbi Shua ben Levi for that it's Kedusha. Well, right now there are 10 people still davening. If you only start your Shemona Esrei after Kedusha, there might not be 10 people still davening anymore, so you're going to miss out on Tefillah B'tzibur. Does saying Kedusha trump Tefillah B'tzibur? I don't know. I would assume that Tefillah B'tzibur would trump saying Kedusha. Maybe not. I don't know. You see, that one always seemed weird to me. That you're risking Tefillah B'tzibur so that you could say Kedusha. I don't know. Anyways, fine. What about for Yesh Me'Rabba? Should you interrupt your Shemona Esrei to say Yesh Me'Rabba V'varach Lalam Lo Me'al Mayim? So Ki Asar Rav Dimi Amar Rabbi Yehuda V'Rab Shimon Talmidei Rabbi Yochanan. So interesting. So when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael, the Bava said Rabbi Yehuda. Who's Rabbi Yehuda the Amora? I don't know. Maybe it's Rav Yehuda, but Rab Shimon. Who's Rabbi Shimon? So that's I guess Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. But Rabbi Yehuda wasn't a student of Rabbi Yochanan anyways. I don't know who this Rabbi Yehuda is. And Rabbi Reish Lakish wasn't a student of Rabbi Yochanan, he's a chavrusa of Rabbi Yochanan. But there is this note here that changes it to Vitamide Rabbi Yochanan. So I guess you could say Rabbi Yehuda and Reish Lakish and the other students of Rabbi Yochanan. But I still don't know who this Rabbi Yehuda is. It could be it's possible. Apparently Rabbi Yochanan was a student of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. So maybe he's talking about Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi and Reish Lakish and the students of Rabbi Yochanan. They would all say the following. Maybe. I don't know. They said, Lakol ein mafsikin chutz min yesh ma'agadol mevorach. You don't interrupt your Shemona Esrei for anything. One exception. Yehesh me'rabba mevorach. Shafilu osek b'maisei merkava posek. That even if you were studying Maisei Merkava, Kabbalah, I guess, things that you really want to focus on, you interrupt it for Yesh Me'Rabba, but v'lei selchsak kavasaihu. However, the halacha is not like them. Okay? The halacha is not like them. So, you don't even interrupt your Shemona Esrei for Yesh Me'Rabba. Very, very interesting, practical Hilchos Beis Knesses there. So very cool. Okay, next. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mevarech Lefnei Melachreim. So now, I think that in order for this Gemara to make sense, I think you have to understand that Rabbi Yehuda is saying that you would mamish say Kriya Bal Keri, mamish says Kriya Shema, and mamish says the brachas before and afterwards. So Lemeimer de Kasavar Rabbi Yehuda Bal Keri mutar b'divrei Torah. So is that to say that Rabbi Yehuda holds that a Bal Keri is mutar b'divrei Torah? Is mamish allowed to say Kriya Shema? Ve'amar Rabbi Shimon Levi, didn't Rabbi Shimon Levi minayin the Bal Keri she'asur b'divrei Torah? How do you know that a Bal Keri is asur to learn Divrei Torah? So now I thought that it was asur because of the gezerah of the takana of Ezra, but maybe Rabbi Yeshua Levi is just sort of like applying like a scriptural kind of teaching. Maybe it's like an asmachta. He's kind of like applying a scriptural teaching to takana of Ezra, or maybe Rabbi Yeshua Levi holds that it's mida oraisa that a Bal Keri is not allowed to learn Torah, but maybe we don't paskin like him. Maybe we paskin like a different opinion that says that because we're going to say later on that there's actually another thing that Rabbi Shua Levi himself, interestingly enough, learns out from these psukim. So maybe then we wouldn't learn out that Bal Keri is also read the Torah midoraisa, and then Ezra came later on and said the takana. Maybe that's what you would say. But in any event, Rabbi Shua Levi, didn't Rabbi Shua Levi say minayin the Bal Keri should also be the Torah? How do we know that Bal Keri is also be the Torah? Shenamar vodatam levanecha vodatem vodatam. Yeah, I think it's vodatam. Honestly, these psukim are so small, I can't really read them so good. Vodatam levanecha, okay, that you will teach your children and your grandchildren. So that's learning Torah. Right, the day that you stood at Har Sinai. Just like by Har Sinai, Baalei Karian were asurin, as we explained earlier. So also by Divrei Torah, Baalei Karian are asurin. Okay, so doesn't Rabbi Yehuda hold of that Baal Kari is also by Divrei Torah? V'chitem Rabbi Yehuda lo dar smuchim. Remember smuchim from Daf Yud Amud Aleph, right? With the Tzeduki and Rabbi Abo, right? Smuchim are when you have two psukim juxtaposed to each other, you can learn something out. Like we're saying over here, that because V'odatam levanecha levanecha is right before the pasuk of Yom HaShamat Lefnei Hashem Elokech B'chorev. That is how we learn out that a Baal Kari is also b'divrei Torah. But maybe we'll say that Rabbi Yehuda doesn't learn of smuchim. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't learn of smuchim. B'chitem Rabbi Yehuda lo darish smuchim. V'amar Rav Yosef afilu man lo darish smuchim b'chol Torah b'mishnah Torah darish. But didn't Rabbi Yosef say that even the man Amar, even if you don't learn of smuchim in general, but in Mishnah Torah, which is Sefer Devarim, you do learn smuchim, and these two psukim are found in Mishnah Torah in the Sefer Devarim. Da Rabbi Yehuda, continues Rav Yosef, da Rabbi Yehuda lo darish smuchim b'chol Torah kula u'Mishnah Torah darish, because after all, Rabbi Yehuda in general does not hold of smuchim, doesn't just learn out things from their juxtaposition, but in Sefer Devarim he does learn of smuchim, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda should, if we're saying that because of the juxtaposition of Vodatam levanecha v'levnei vanecha and Yom HaShamata Lefnei Hashem Elokech B'chorev, because of that juxtaposition we learn out that Baalei Karian are asurin for Divrei Torah. Rabbi Yehuda should also hold of that because it's found that juxtaposition is in Sefer Devarim. Okay. V'chol Torah kula minalan lo darsh. How do we know that Rabbi Yehuda doesn't learn out smuchim in general? So the Tanya, as we learn in the Brayso, Ben Azai Omer Zak Ben Azai Nemar, it says in Parshas Mishpatim in Sefer Shmos, it says Machshefer los chaya, that a machshefer, a witch, cannot live. We must kill her or him, I guess. V'nemar kol shochem behema mos yumas. It says anybody who sleeps with an animal must surely die. And whenever it says mos yumas, it means beskila. So samchu inyan lo lomar mashochem behema beskila af machshefer nami beskila. Just like somebody who sleeps with an animal gets stoned, so also a machshefer will get stoned, and those two psukim are mamish one after the other in Parshas Mishpatim. So from that juxtaposition, we learn out that a machshefer gets skila. Now, a quick note: there is a Mishnah in Sanhedrin that discusses which are the most severe, the most painful, extreme forms of the execution that Bezdin carries out. And it's machlokas between the Chacham and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, but the Chacham's opinion is that the most severe would be skila, followed by streifa, which is burning, followed by hereg, which is plopping the dude's head off with a sword, and number 4, the most lenient, being strangulation, chenek. So basically we're saying that because of the juxtaposition of these two psukim, we're saying that just like somebody who sleeps with an animal gets skila, stoning, so also machshefer, a witch, will get stoned as well. So because of the juxtaposition, we're basically giving him or her the most extreme death penalty that there is. So Amar le Rabbi Yehuda. So now Rabbi Yehuda says to Ben Azai, what we're gonna say that a machshefer gets skila just because these two psukim happen to be next to each other? No, ella ov yudoni b'chlal kol machshefim hayu. Ov and yudoni, these are these two types of witchcraft. We actually had this a few days ago in the context of Shaul, when Shaul went to visit an ov yudoni practitioner in order to bring up Shmuel from the dead. Anyways, so ov yudoni were, I would assume that they would be included as in general in the violations of machshefer los chaya, of killing all machshefers. V'lama yatsu, how can we have a specific pasuk that says v'isho isha ki yiyeh ov o yudoni mos yumasu be'evin yirgmu osam d'meim bam? How can we have a pasuk that specifically says that ov yudoni they get skila? So the Gemara answers. So Rabbi Yehuda explains it's because lahakish land. Right, we have right. If anybody remembers from the Yud Gimel Midos, right, Rabbi Shmuel Omer that we say at the end of Korbanos in the morning, right, we have Kol Davar Shaya B'Chlal, anything that was included in something else. V'yatsa min haklal lamed, lo lamed al atzmo yatsa, el lamed al klal kulo yatsa. Right, if you had something that was included, such as over here, we had Ovi and Doni, would just, I would theoretically just be included in the rule of you have to kill a machshefer. Yeah, then they were yotzei min haklal. They left that general rule to say that they get stoning. So it's not just to say that they get stoned, but all machshefers in general get stoned, right? V'lo malcha, and to tell you, ma'ov yidoni b'skila ap machshefer b'skila. Oh, so just like an ov yidoni gets skila, so also all machshefers get skila. So in the end, the net result is going to be the same according to Ben Azai and Rabbi Yehuda, that a machshefer gets skila, but Ben Azai wants to learn it out from smuchim, whereas Rabbi Yehuda says, no, you don't learn it out from smuchim, you learn it out from sort of a more established way of learning a drasha, which is kol davar shaya b'chlal v'yatzam nakal lamed, that. Okay, fine. So that was in Sefer Shmos, and we're saying that he's not willing to learn it out from smuchim. Okay, fine. With Mishnah Torah, Minal and Darsh, and how do we know that in Mishnah Torah he does learn smuchim? The Tanya is learning the Brisa. Rabbi Eliezer, Omer says Rabbi Eliezer, no say Adam anusas aviv, mefutas aviv. Okay, even though this seems legal, everyone put on your Yavamis hats for a second. I'm just as nervous as I'm sure you are that one day we're going to have to learn Yavamis, but I guess it's never too early to start prepping our minds for it. So. Okay, we say no say Adam anusas aviv umufutas aviv. Okay, you have a son is permitted to marry a woman who is raped or seduced by his father. Okay, anusas beno umufutas beno, and a father is permitted to marry a woman who is raped or seduced by his son, however dysfunctional that may be. Rabbi Yehuda oser ba'anusas aviv umufutas aviv, whereas Rabbi Yehuda says that a son would not be allowed to marry somebody who was raped or seduced by his father. The Amar of Gidol, Amar Rav, and of Gidol says the name of Rav. My taima de Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda say that a son would not be allowed to marry somebody who was raped or seduced by his father? Tichsev, as the pasuk says, Lo yikach ish as eshes aviv v'lo yigale knaf aviv. A person should not marry somebody who was the wife of his father, and he should not reveal the corner of his father's garment. And we say, Kanav Shira Aviv Lo Yigale, somebody who saw his father, he should not reveal. Okay, fine. And how do we know that this is talking about somebody who was raped by his father? Because the pasuk right before this pasuk in Sefer Dvar, in Parshas Kisetze, I believe, V'nasan ha'ish ashochiv ima v'gomer is talking about the halachos of rape, and therefore we know that therefore we learn out that when it says lo yigala knaf aviv, it means that he shouldn't marry somebody who was raped or seduced by his father. So zeu. So we learned that Rabbi Yehuda does learn out of smuchim in Mishnah Torah. So therefore, back to our original question, a bunch of lines earlier. Why does Rabbi Yehuda seem to be saying that he's a Balkari can read Kriyat Shema? What about this juxtaposition in Mishnah Torah from which we learn out that a Balkari doesn't learn Torah? So the Gemara answers, Amrei in. They say yes, but Mishnah Torah Darish, he does learn out smuchim in Sefer Devarim. Okay, so what's pshat? Bahane smuchin nibayle leidach Rabbi Shimon Levi. But Rabbi Yehuda says, yeah, but actually this smuchim of vodatam levanecha vanecha followed immediately by Yom Asher Amati Lefnei Hashem Elokecha B'chorev. He doesn't learn out to say that a Balkari is also in Divrei Torah. No, he learns out actually a different drasha from the same Rabbi Shimon Levi. The Amar Rabbi Shimon Levi, Kol Melamed Livno Torah. Listen up, fathers. Anybody who teaches their son Torah, Ma'ila Olav Akasav Kilu Kibla Me'ar Chorev. So the way I understand this is that so either this could be talking about the father or the son. I don't know. I think maybe he's talking about the father, the son. So any father who teaches his son Torah, it's as if the son has received the Torah not from his father, but from Har Sinai. Shnei Amar, as the pasuk says, that you will teach your children and your grandchildren the day that you stood before your God at Horeb. So at Har Sinai. So yeah, I don't know if it's talking about sort of as if the child is not receiving from the father, he's receiving from Har Sinai, or maybe by the father teaching his son and his grandchild Torah. It's as if he himself, I guess, received the Torah from Har Sinai. But either way, it sounds like a really great thing. So shkayach everybody, very beautiful daf today. I hope you all enjoyed some cool halachos over there, just general knowledge. Hilchos based Knesses, some interesting stuff about is here or Kedibor dummy or not. Some interesting stuff today. It's very fun. Hope you all enjoyed. Peace out.